Now on CoastTV News.
Power plant politics. What is next for one community involved with a lawsuit against the alternative energy company that is planning to build a wind farm off of our coast?
Capsize causes commotion.
I saw people getting pulled onto the boat as well, fire, EMS, everything.
The tense scene in Ocean City as emergency crews rescued 5 people from the water.
Sands of Strength. We break down the big lifeguard competition that begins in just a few hours from now in Rehoboth Beach.
A flash flood threat. A stalled stationary boundary will be the focus for heavy rain showers and storms and the threat for flash flooding through the rest of the week. I'll track the rain on FutureCast coming up next.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning. I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025.
Yeah, we're in a stretch of having those on and off again showers, sunny skies. It's kind of hard to track.
Makes for a difficult beach day because you can be on the beach, then you're running to your car. So I don't know. Bob said it's okay this morning at the beach, but
I know we had some rough weather last night, Bob.
we did.
Yeah, we did have a nice power washing courtesy of Mother Nature last night. Sheets of rain, and we had the wind, hail, also lightning, I think, in Trapp in the Eastern Shore. We had a structure fire there from that. Much quieter this morning. We are seeing a few showers around Ocean View to Selbyville, Pittsville, Berlin, West Ocean City, and these showers are beginning to fizzle out, and we're looking at those continuing down into the Crisfield area as the little disturbance continues to slide through. So a few showers possible, especially across Maryland and then points south. Otherwise, we're watching this stationary boundary. It's nearby, and that will be the focus for maybe heavier rain once again as we go into this evening, maybe flooding rain. Out the door, it's a little cooler this morning than yesterday morning by a few degrees, but that makes a difference. Rain cooled air in the low to mid 70s, but still very, very muggy. And we do have a flood watch essentially for all of Delmarva, southern Delaware into Maryland. This goes until tomorrow morning, 2 a.m., and for the Eastern Shore as well. The conditions are favorable for flash flooding as we go into the evening hours. But really much of the day, we're seeing some clouds that will take the edge off the heat. I think we're looking at highs in the upper 80s, close to 90 as opposed to mid 90s. And a few showers along the coast, and then the heavier rain once again builds in this evening. I am concerned once again for the threat for flash flooding. Cutting the grass, I think you're okay really much of the morning and early afternoon. So I have it in the fair category today right through Saturday, but then into the evening all bets are off as I think some of the heavier rain and storms start to build in.
Thank you, Bob. And our top story this hour, Fenwick Island officials are expecting an update on the offshore wind situation. It was last week that we saw a compromise between Delaware Democrats and Republicans that allowed the bond bill to pass, and in exchange, there's a delay on the law overturning Sussex County's decision to deny permits for an electric substation at the site of the now retired Indian River Power Plant. And we should learn more about Fenwick Island's position on this after the 9 a.m. meeting of the Environmental Committee.
And the delay allows for the appeal by alternative energy company U.S. Wind against Sussex County to play out in court. Fenwick Island is also suing U.S. Wind. Last week, a United States District Court judge allowed the lawsuit to continue. With 5 cases of action against U.S. Wind, it was earlier this year that Fenwick Island joined Ocean City and Worcester County in the lawsuit that attempts to block the construction of a wind farm off of our coast.
We are now learning that the death toll from the Texas floods has risen above 160, and officials say that number is expected to increase. In Kirk County, officials reported 84 deaths, 56 adults and 28 children on Monday. That was the 4th day of the search. 10 girls and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic were still unaccounted for. More rain is expected in central Texas, and a flash flooding risk remains in the area.
Developing news in Laurel, 2 people have been arrested in connection to shots fired. Police say it happened Tuesday evening at the Hollybrook apartment complex. Police confirmed there were no injuries reported. The department says it is continuing to investigate the cause of this situation.
And we're getting new surveillance video of the men suspected in a mass shooting in Philadelphia. Have a warning before we get to this. This footage may be disturbing for some viewers. This is video edited and released by Philadelphia police of the Monday shooting. It happened in the Grays Ferry at around 1 a.m. 3 people died and 9 others were injured. 1 person was taken into custody with a weapon, although Their role in the shooting is unclear. A pontoon boat capsized in the Ocean City Inlet on Tuesday. Happened around 5 p.m. and we were told 5 people were on that boat that ended up in the water. According to the Ocean City Fire Department, everyone was okay. Natural Resources Police rescued those 5 people. And the video you're seeing is the aftermath, a rescue boat dragging the pontoon to shore. We spoke with someone at Harrison's Harbor Watch right next to the inlet, and she says lifeguards stepped in to help.
I saw everything. So I saw the people floating by. I saw the boat also floating by. I saw people getting pulled onto the boat as well. Fire, EMS, everything. I was serving a table and I looked out there and then I see everybody floating by and I'm like, what the heck? They were very quick with saving everybody, pulling people onto the boat. I was watching everybody get pulled on. And then of course the lifeguards helping them up onto like the little surfboard thing.
We're told that a boat hit the rock before flipping. Officials have yet to confirm that piece of information. The boat was drifting almost to West Ocean City before it was tugged back to shore.
A rather rocky 4th of July weekend continues to be a popular subject in Ocean City. At Monday night's council meeting, a neighbor aimed his frustration at the Ocean City Police Department, saying there was a lack of visibility on the boardwalk. One council member answered with a vote of confidence for OCPD and then mentioned that back in March, county leaders denied a $1 million request to support the town's police department. Commissioner President Ted Elder says he does not regret that decision.
No, not at all. Not at all. We have several municipalities in the county that aren't funded. None of them's funded by the county. I mean, maybe they want to bump it up and go to the state.
And Elder says even if the county had approved that money, the check would not have cleared in time for the 4th of July holiday weekend.
We are now taking a live look at Rehoboth Beach. Not too busy of a scene now, but just a few hours from now, we're expecting a big crowd when over 300 lifeguards take to the beach. This is for the 2025 United States Life Saving Association's Mid-Atlantic Regional Championships. Competition begins at 8 a.m. on Baltimore Avenue. Lifeguards are attempting to win a spot at the Life Saving Association's national competition in California this August.
New this morning, Worcester County officials are warning locals and business owners about an email scam they say is targeting people involved in county permitting and plan reviews. Officials say that the scammers pose as county staff, sending emails for fake addresses and pressure recipients to wire money for supposed fees. The county stresses it does not accept wire transfers and to contact them if people receive any suspicious emails. And for more information on this and how officials say you can spot a scam, head to CoastTV.com.
Here's a live look now at Washington, D.C. on this Wednesday morning. It was on Tuesday that President Trump held a cabinet meeting that covered many key policy items, including the announcement of new tariffs.
And the president also addressing conflicts overseas. And as NBC's Alice Barr shows us, he's making plans to meet with the Israeli Prime Minister to find an end to the fighting in Gaza.
A friend of mine is very successful.
President Trump with his cabinet at his side, focusing on foreign wars and trade negotiations.
I just want you to know, a letter means a deal.
Saying overnight new trade announcements are coming this morning for 7 countries after sending letters to 14 global trading partners on Monday, establishing higher tariff rates if they don't negotiate new deals before August 1st.
It's a better way. It's a more powerful way.
The president also announcing a new 50% tariff on copper imports without setting a date and saying new pharmaceutical levies of up to 200% are coming. As countries scramble to respond, Chinese officials warning the U.S. against reigniting trade tensions, promising retaliation if any deals hurt their economy. Turning to Ukraine, where Russian attacks are ramping up, President Trump confirming he approved sending more defensive weapons to Ukraine after the Pentagon paused shipments, citing concerns about low stockpiles.
Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people.
In a shift in tone, the president voicing increasing frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We get a lot of bull thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth.
now reviewing a bipartisan sanctions package against Russia, as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meets today with Republican lawmakers and top defense officials amid a renewed push for a ceasefire with Hamas to end the devastating fighting in Gaza and bring hostages home. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today.
Yeah, coming up, Broadkill Beach sand solution. The options under review to solve erosion on the banks of the Delaware Bay.
Also, more maintenance in Lewis. Officials are taking steps to keep the city in top shape, and we'll tell you how often you can expect tests for locals.
And new coffee coming to Starbucks. We have the 3 new flavors now available. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
6:12 on this muggy and mild Wednesday morning. FH Fur Cam showing lots of clouds in Cambridge, some breaks, and I think we'll be seeing improving conditions as we go through the morning hours. We have a few light sprinkles now near Frankfort, Ocean View, back through Wango, Colburn, but these are beginning to fizzle down into the Crisfield area. We're watching this little system coming through, but it's beginning to fizzle, so some morning clouds, light showers. Then I think we'll see afternoon sunshine. Then this front to our north and west could trigger more heavy rain as we go through the evening hours, with temperatures in the mid-70s, nearly matching dew points, giving us pretty muggy conditions. Here's our 5-day UV index. Have that high SPF sunscreen. We're at 10 today, 9 Thursday, and then 10s Friday through Sunday. So at least SPF 30, find the midday shade, limit time outdoors, and try to avoid the sun from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Thank you, Bob. Happening today, a road closure for drivers in Salisbury. The city says starting today, a private contractor will begin milling and paving work on Benny Street between Naylor Street and Marshall Street. The project is expected to wrap up in about 2 days, weather permitting.
Lisa, here's another closure to tell you about. This one's in Millsboro. DelDOT says Delaware Avenue is closing between DuPont Boulevard and Millsboro Highway. This is for construction beginning on Monday, July 14th. For the installation of 3 crossroad pipes. And DelDOT says the work is expected to finish August 4th, weather permitting.
A survey suggests Americans are feeling more optimistic that inflation won't heat back up. That's according to a consumer report from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. There's been anxiety for months about fast rising prices related to tariffs, but this survey finds that anxiety eased a bit in June. Consumers' near-term inflation expectations fell for the 2nd month in a row.
Starbucks is out with a new Frappuccino drink. The Strato Frappuccino blended beverage comes in 3 different flavors: strawberry matcha, salted caramel mocha, and brown sugar. The new drink combines creamy cold foam and Frappuccino to create a layered look. You get a good look of that right there on your screen. And the coffee chain is delivering this new item after canceling a handful of less popular drinks from its menu.
We have a pretty nice start to the day along the coast, seeing a little bit of sliver of blue sky on the Tull and Razor Cam and Lewis. Otherwise, not a bad start. A stalled out front will be the focus for heavy showers and thunderstorms, I think, through the end of the week, especially into the evening hours, and the threat is there for flash flooding. I'll time out the rain on Futurecast and my full forecast in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 6:17, and here's our live look at the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewis. Bob, it was quite a different look in the Tuesday night hours. That still has your attention.
Yeah, it got pretty wild and woolly last night for sure, Matt. A lot of rain and wind, some hail as well, and some thunder. Got me up around 10 and 10:30. And we have some storm reports too. Had some half-inch hail southeast Sussex County into the Dagsboro area. That was around 7:35 last night. So we had a lot of wind out there too with these storms near Laurel. Thunderstorm wind damage 644 there. Trees down on the road. Also into the Milford area, we had some down trees around 725. Eastern Shore, you also had some wind damage near Salem. And then we had a lightning strike that caused a structure fire near the intersection of Bruceville Road and Windy Hill Road at 7:30 yesterday evening. So we had some big storms, and we could do it again this evening. We do have a flood watch, meaning the potential is there. We have the conditions in place for flash flooding later this evening. So this flood watch for all of Delaware and pretty much all of Delmarva, including Maryland, through today and then into very early Thursday, and then for the Eastern Shore as well. I think mainly this evening into the night, that's when we're going to see some of the heavier showers. And right now it's light showers, fading showers from Selbyville to Berlin, and then a few spotty showers down near Frog Eye into the Crisfield area. And then we're seeing this system pretty much weaken as it's moving to the east. We have some clouds, so it'll be cloudy for the next couple of hours. That'll keep us a little cooler. Then I think we'll get into sunshine, and then there's a stationary front that's nearby that will be the focus for some heavy thunderstorms, I think, for this evening. Out the door a little cooler than yesterday in the low to mid 70s, and dew point temperatures still pretty high, but not as oppressive as yesterday. Here's Futurecast this morning. We have the clouds that will start to thin out, and then by noon I think we're into the mid 80s, maybe a few spotty showers possible. Not as hot this afternoon, upper 80s, close to 90 inland, and not a bad beach day, but heads up for a few isolated storms. Then into this evening, as that front gets closer, I think we're looking at a better chance of heavier rain, and I think some of these storms could be slow movers and back building, meaning they build back to the west, and that could create flash flooding as we go through this evening into, say, the midnight hour, and then it quiets down tomorrow morning. There is a slight risk once again for damaging winds and then flash flooding all across the area. You've heard the saying, turn around, don't drown, and that's going to be important to know as we go into tonight. There's that stationary boundary nearby, and with that stalled out front, on and off showers and storms through the rest of the week with localized flash flooding. We have that chance mainly Thursday afternoon and evening, the same for Friday afternoon and evening. I think more isolated into Saturday and Sunday. It won't be a washout, but we are looking at some places an inch or two of rain, maybe 3, possibly 4 as we go through the rest of the week into your Friday, and really no relief from the humidity. Very humid to miserable really the next several days. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, 89 on and off storms with the flooding threat into the afternoon and evening hours. A little cooler Thursday, 84, 86 Friday, and then isolated storms possible Saturday, 88. That might be our one dry day before the storms move back in on Sunday through early next week with near normal temperatures in the mid to upper 80s.
Thank you, Bob. Happening today in Lewis, hydrant flow testing. It's according to the city's Board of Public Works. The board says tests will now happen on the second Wednesday of every month. During testing, you might notice low water pressure or even discolored water. If that happens, officials say run your cold water for 10 to 15 minutes until it clears up, and also avoid doing laundry during the tests.
New across Delmarva, opportunities for car seat checks along the eastern shore. Organizers say experts will help make sure seats are installed correctly. This is at the Snow Hill Volunteer Fire Department on July 16th from 3 to 6 p.m. People can make appointments online.
Also, the Fruitland Police Department announcing details for the 2025 National Night Out. Organizers say they'll have free food, live music, and gifts for attendees. This is taking place at the Fruitland Little League Fields on South Brown Street on Tuesday, August 5th at 5 p.m.
Up next on Coast TV News today, Broadkill Beach Sand Solutions will tell you why some locals say the dunes could use some help. Don't go anywhere.
Shifting sands along the dunes at Broadkill Beach have Delaware officials searching for solutions. These are the dunes that we're talking about at the beach there, and they're experiencing erosion. A proposal from DNREC is intended to fix that. It would realign a 1-mile section of the dune and shift it landward, along with redistributing sand to the erosion in the center and improve the beach access points. People living in this area say the shores need some help.
Recently, past 5 years, I'd say, it's like beaches just become super small, and the drop off, it's hard. People would love to drive on with their ATVs and stuff, but it's really hard. And I feel like it just sucks.
Members of the Broadkill Beach Preservation Association tell us to expect DNREC officials at their meeting on July 19th to review the project.
Slightly cooler beach day today than on Tuesday, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Bob, you were indicating that the waves might not be as tasty today as they have been in the past. Yeah.
No, but I think that's good, though, for the lifeguard competition. They probably want smaller waves and can get out there quicker. And I don't think they have to worry about lightning this morning, maybe this afternoon and this evening. Assateague and Chincoteague, we're looking at a few showers this morning, then it dries out with lower 80s, rip current threat low, UV index high, and then Fenwick Island and Ocean City, maybe a morning shower, otherwise low to mid 80s as we go through the day. Pretty stormy the next 3 days as we go go into the Cambridge area with that threat for flash flooding. And then Crisfield, similar conditions for you. Watch for heavier storms developing tonight and then on and off as we go into the rest of the week. And then I think things quiet down a little bit into the weekend. Much more on your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, lifeguards look for competition advance. The major prize hundreds of lifeguards will be vying for in Rehoboth Beach in just a few hours.
Also frustrated with fighting, what President Trump is now saying about the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine and Russian President Putin's role in that conflict.
And offshore wind opposition update with Fenwick Island officials could discuss today after movement on offshore wind in the Delaware General Assembly. Coast TV News today will be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Offshore outlook. What lies ahead for Fenwick Island after two big decisions last week on the controversial wind farm project for our coast?
Inlet help happening, the change in the time frame for the emergency dredging in Ocean City.
Rescue rivalry returns. What you need to know ahead of the 2025 United States Life Saving Association's Mid-Atlantic Regional Championships set to begin this morning in Rehoboth Beach.
A flash flood threat. A stalled stationary boundary will be the focus for heavy rain showers and storms and the threat for flash flooding through the rest of the week. I'll track the rain on Futurecast coming up next.
This is Coast TV News Today.
July 9th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 6:29, and we're expecting some excitement as we saw on Rehoboth Beach with the life-saving competition.
Yeah, just in that little snippet in the headline, we saw some intense competitions. I mean, they train constantly for these.
I'm just impressed how much in shape they are.
They're in incredible shape.
I'm jealous, actually.
Really?
Impressed and jealous at the same time.
They have some pretty intense workouts. I've watched them to cover some stories before, but Bob, this morning they have much better conditions for competition. The air is not as thick as it was yesterday.
No, indeed. And they have cloud cover as well, guys. And I think for that competition, which is strenuous, they're looking at pretty good conditions this morning. Overcast, some light showers, not looking at any lightning. So that's certainly good. So I think they're in good shape along the beaches for that. We're looking at a few showers around Ocean Pines into Berlin. These are beginning to weaken. And then farther south into Pocomoke City around Crisfield, you've got some very light showers. These continue to move through. Otherwise, we do have the cloud cover in place probably for a couple more hours. Then I think we'll get into the sunshine. Then it'll get warm later. Then we have the stationary boundary nearby. And once again, that could be the focus for some flash flooding perhaps this evening. So much of the day, we're in good shape. Out the door, a little cooler than yesterday by about 5 degrees. 74 in Millsboro, 75 in Georgetown, Bethany Beach at 75. And the dew point temperatures nearly matching the actual temperatures. It's still that air you can wear. There is a flood watch for all of Delmarva, including southern Delaware, back through Maryland, around Salisbury, back towards the coast, and a flood watch for the eastern shore. This means conditions are favorable for flooding, flash flooding, and I think that's a distinct possibility later this evening. But really much of the day, we're okay. We're seeing the clouds thinning out this morning, and then mid-80s by noon, maybe a pop-up shower, and then near 90 inland mid-afternoon, so not nearly as hot. Watch for that isolated shower this afternoon, and then the heavier rain builds in this evening, and that's what I'm concerned about, flash flooding. Inland areas feeling like close to 100, but if you're in the clouds and a few showers, it'll feel a little cooler today. And your day part forecast has us warming into the upper 80s, close to 90. I'll have much more on that flash flood threat coming up a little bit later on.
Our top story this half hour this morning in Fenwick Island, town officials are expecting an update on the offshore wind situation. It was last week that we saw a compromise between Delaware Democrats and Republicans that agreed to allowing the bond bill to pass in exchange for a delay on the law overturning Sussex County's decision to deny permits for an electric substation at the site of the now retired Indian River Power Plant. We should learn more about Fenwick Island's position on this after the 9 a.m. meeting of the Environmental Committee.
Happening now, you're getting troubling insight from officials in the wake of catastrophic flooding in Texas. For the first time, they are sharing the number of those presumed to be missing.
Yeah, that number more than 170 across the entire flood zone, with 161 in hard-hit Kerr County. NBC's Jay Gray shows us what comes next for survivors.
As the massive search effort continues, this stunning revelation from Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing.
More than 170 unaccounted for across the entire flood zone. This tragedy defined by the staggering numbers, more than 110 dead.
I've lost friends, true friends, and we've lost precious families, precious children. I wish to God there was a way we could have warned them.
There are growing questions, tension, and frustration over whether there was adequate staffing at the National Weather Service and timely warnings before the storm and as the water started to rise. There is no debate about how difficult the cleanup and recovery here will be, or how vital volunteers are as that process begins.
But we had 33 angels show up on Sunday out of nowhere.
Gutting his flood-ravaged home, cutting away soaked sheetrock, clearing out the waterlogged remnants of his life before the storm.
It's just, totally different aspect of volunteering and paying it forward. I don't know where people show up, just wanting to help. That's just amazing.
An effort many consider a responsibility and privilege.
Just to be Texans and just coming together and doing what we need to do.
With this part of Texas battered and hurting. Jay Gray, NBC News, Kerrville.
New this morning, 2 people were arrested in connection to shots fired in Laurel. Police say it happened last night at the Hollybrook apartment complex and confirm there were no injuries.
This just in, President Trump talking tariffs, trade, and the wars in Ukraine and Gaza at his cabinet meeting Tuesday. He criticized Russian President Putin and made plans to meet with the Israeli Prime Minister to find an end to the fighting in Gaza. And President Trump confirming he approved sending more defensive weapons to Ukraine after the Pentagon paused shipments, citing concerns about low stockpiles. In a shift in tone, the president voicing increasing frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people.
And officials say the president is now reviewing a bipartisan sanction package against Russia.
Worcester County officials are warning about an email scam they say is targeting people involved in county permitting and plan reviews. Now, according to officials, the scammers pose as county staff, sending emails from fake addresses and pressure recipients to wire money for supposed fees. The county stresses it does not accept wire transfers and to contact them if people receive any suspicious emails.
We are now taking a live look at Rehoboth Beach happening today. Over 300 lifeguards will take to the beach right there for the 2025 United States Life-Saving Association's Mid-Atlantic Regional Championships. The competition begins in just a few hours at 8 o'clock on Baltimore Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. Athletes are competing to win a spot at the Life-Saving Association's national competition in California this August.
Emergency dredging in the Ocean City Inlet expected to begin a week ahead of schedule. The Department of Natural Resources says the dredge will now arrive Monday with work beginning the following day on Tuesday. They say dredging will take roughly 8 to 10 days and 7,500 cubic yards of material will be removed. It comes as the White Marlin Open Fishing Tournament returns in August.
Today is the first full day U.S. air travelers without TSA pre-check can wear shoes through airport security. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says officials believe it's safe to end the rule. She points to the new Real ID requirements and says screening technology has evolved since 2001. That's when a passenger tried to ignite explosives in his shoes on a flight to Miami.
Many people will be on airlines traveling in and out of our airports, and it's important that we find ways to keep people safe, but also streamline and make the process much more enjoyable for every single person.
Noem says officials also want to increase airport efficiency before the U.S. hosts the World Cup and Olympics.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Delaware teacher trouble will tell you how the state says it aims to help educators after startling results of an audit.
And pitcher gets promotion, the latest shorebird to move up the Orioles chain. Plus, we have a check on some summer hoop action. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
We salute Michael Gaylor, a proud Vietnam War veteran and a hero not only in service to his country, but to his family. His strength, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication as a provider and father have left a lasting impact. Described as a true hero by his daughter, Michael's influence helped shape the strong, independent woman she is today. His legacy of love and service will always be honored.
Spicer Brothers and CoastTV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a CoastTV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
It is exactly 6:40 on a Wednesday morning. Here's Laurel looking at clouds, maybe a few showers in the distance right now. So make sure you have your umbrella, as much of Sussex County is dry. Just a few light showers, Ocean Pines, back to Ocean City, and then from Gum Swamp to Pocomoke City and Crisfield, you're seeing some light showers. You see they're weakening as they move through. We have quite a bit in the way of clouds, so they'll be around for a few hours. Then I think we get into sunshine. Then we're watching this front to our north and west. That could be the trigger for more heavy showers this evening. Mid-70s out the door this morning, not as oppressive as it was yesterday, but still on the mild side. Here's your DriveCast. I've updated it to a few showers this morning with some clouds. I gave it the yellow light, so do watch for some wet roads. Much of the afternoon's in good shape, and then this evening, be weather aware for heavy rain, storms, maybe flooding, especially with some of those very heavy storms as we go deeper into the evening hours. And congratulations to Brian Bard from Seaford on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling and Coast TV.
New across Delmarva, Lake Forest High School students can get ready for fall sports. According to the school, tonight athletic trainer Keely Ardnett will host a DIAA physical turn-in night. This is where families can turn in the necessary paperwork to play in this upcoming sports season. Organizers say people can drop in this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. in the pool lobby.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
NBA Summer League is in full swing, and the 76ers put on a show against the Grizzlies last night. Philadelphia was without the second overall pick VJ Edgecombe for the second straight game, so someone else needed to step up, and that someone was Judah Mintz. The guard who spent all of his rookie year in the G League led the way with 26 points. That included scoring 5 points in the last minute of the game to secure the win. The Sixers finished just 1-2 in the Salt Lake Summer League, but now they're headed to Las Vegas to round out the offseason. Philadelphia takes the court again on Thursday against San Antonio, and as for Edgecombe, he's still listed as day-to-day with a minor thumb injury. In baseball, a Delmarva shorebird is taking the next step in his career. Right-handed pitcher Jacob Gravy was just promoted to the Orioles' High A affiliate, the Aberdeen Ironbirds. Since Baltimore drafted Gravy in the 6th round of the 2023 draft, he's been featured in 39 games for the Low A Shorebirds, and this year, the Samford alum became a key cog in the Delmarva's rotation with a 3.67 ERA, and Gravy's final performance for the Birds was a win over the Fred Nats last week when he put up 6 scoreless innings. That'll do it for sports, folks. Have a great day.
And coming up tonight on DSN, 8:30, we have Decatur facing Dover in boys basketball. Then it's the final score at 10:30 on DSN Plus. Along with that basketball game, you can catch these exclusives. At 5, it's CBA Summer League boys basketball. At 6, DE Turf High School girls soccer. 6:30, Delmarva Pony League baseball.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Coming up today on Coast Life at 4 o'clock, it's the return of my co-host, Leah Rizzo. She's going to be back on the couch in another new glorious outfit from the gang over at Water Lily. You won't want to miss that. Plus, I'm sure she'll fill us in on what she did with her big, long weekend. And we're going to be discussing health with the group over at BB, plus a little bit about early child learning. You always want to make sure the kids are on that right path. We're going to help you get the information you need. Tune in at 4 for Coast Life.
We're seeing a lot of cloud cover on the gutter helmet cam. Not necessarily a bad thing this morning to keep us a little cooler, and a few showers out there. We have a stalled front. That is the focus for heavier showers and storms through the end of the week. And there is that threat for flash flooding. I'll time out the rain on Futurecast and my full forecast in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
It is 6:46 and we are taking a live look outside at Cambridge this morning on this much cooler morning. A beautiful view right there in Cambridge. We see the sun coming up a little bit, but Bob, we also see those clouds this morning.
We do. We have some of the clouds, a nice decorative sunrise for sure there, Lisa, and a few light showers. Not concerned about any kind of flooding this morning, but then we go into tonight and definitely you have to be on guard. You have to be weather alert for a heavier rain, which is likely as we go through the overnight hours. And we're looking at widely scattered to scattered showers on Thursday, another spike into the widespread range on Friday. Then I think for the weekend, things become a little more isolated to scattered, so not as intense as the rain we'll see between now and the end of the week. We do have a flood watch. That means conditions are favorable for flash flooding, and that's definitely a possibility this evening for Sussex County, and this goes until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. So mainly this evening through the overnight, that's what I'm concerned about. Some flash flooding concerns. Flood watch also for Salisbury into Maryland and the Eastern Shore. You're also under this flood watch through Thursday morning. Right now, it's just lots of clouds, a few light showers, Ocean Pines into Fenwick Island, but these are beginning to break up. Some light showers around Salisbury, back through Crisfield, and then a little farther to the south and west as this little disturbance is coming through. Still quite a bit in the way of clouds, so we'll see this for the next couple of hours. And there is a clear spot west of D.C., so I think we'll get into sunshine as we go into later this morning. And then there's that stationary boundary to the north. Right now, it's not the focus for a lot of storms, but then as it sinks a little closer to us and we get the heating and the humidity going this afternoon, then I think we'll see those showers and storms firing into the evening hours. Out the door, not as bad as recent mornings, into the mid-70s. We do have light winds, and that'll be the case all day. At dew point temperatures still low to mid-70s, still pretty oppressive out there. At Futurecast, still showing a few showers this morning. I think the clouds thin out as we go through the morning hours with low 80s as we go into late this morning. Maybe a few showers around the noon hour. Otherwise, mid-80s. I think the cloud cover will keep us a little cooler than yesterday. Near 90 as we go into the afternoon from Salisbury to Selbyville and Millsboro. Maybe a heavier storm offshore by 3 p.m. Then I think as we go into the evening hours, we're going to see things rev up again with showers and storms and maybe some very heavy rain. You see the orange and red colors into this evening indicating very heavy rain. We could be looking at training thunderstorms that are moving slow. Training meaning they just kind of sit in one place and continue to dump rain, and that could be the case as we go through the evening and overnight. So if you're traveling, be extra vigilant to that. Things quiet down into your Thursday morning, and we do have a slight risk of seeing severe weather all across the area. Once again, as we go into this evening, the main threat will be very heavy rain with some flash flooding and maybe some damaging winds as well. So be cognizant of that, as we do have this stationary boundary pretty much stalled near us as we go through today into Friday. That means more on and off showers and storms. And once again, into the afternoon and evening, we could be seeing some flash flooding. We see the heavy rain once again as we go into Thursday afternoon and evening. Similar conditions on Friday. Keep that in mind. I think it's more isolated storms as we go into Saturday and Sunday. Don't think it'll be a washout, but still that chance of some storms into the afternoon hours. At least 1 to 2 inches of rain the next few days. You see these red areas, that could be 3 to 4 inches of rain in some of those flash flooding areas. So definitely keep that in mind. And really no relief from the humidity. Very humid to miserable right through the week into the weekend and early next week. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, 89 today, watching for those evening storms, and then on and off storms Thursday into Friday, mainly in the afternoon and evening with mid-80s Thursday and Friday. I think Saturday maybe an isolated storm, a little drier, 88, and then 87, maybe a better chance of storms Sunday into early next week. We continue with that threat for heavier rain and temperatures near normal in the mid to upper 80s.
Thank you, Bob. A recent Delaware state audit is raising serious concerns about teacher licensing credentialing. This audit released last week found that as of March 5th, 453 public school teachers across the state were working without valid licenses or lapsed credentials. Of those, 62 were special education teachers across 14 school districts. Those districts include 4 in Newcastle County, 5 in Kent County, and 5 in Sussex County, as well as several charter or alternative schools across 3 counties.
Get these numbers down to get us all on the same page and to make sure that our students are getting the best. You know, this is not a guarantee of quality of education, but for sure that everybody is meeting the base standard.
In response, the Delaware Department of Education says it plans to ramp up license renewal alerts, notifying educators and HR departments when credentials are nearing expiration. And the time is now 6:51, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pet this hour is searching for his friends. On your screen, that is Finn. Finn is currently looking for bunnies who casually visit him in his yard. Finn was submitted to us by Pamela in Lincoln.
I see a lot of bunnies around here, so
Yeah.
Finn must be busy, and we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That's where that QR code is. If you scan that, you could submit your friend to Coast TV News and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It is 6:54, and it's time for the things you need to know before you go. This morning in Fenwick Island, town officials are expecting an update on the offshore wind situation. It was last week that we saw a compromise between Delaware Democrats and Republicans that agreed to allowing the bond bill to pass in exchange for a delay on the law overturning Sussex County's decision to deny permits for an electric substation at the site of the now retired Indian River Power Plant. We should learn more about Fenwick Island's position on this after the 9 o'clock meeting of the Environmental Committee.
Emergency dredging in the Ocean City Inlet expected to begin a week ahead of schedule. The Department of Natural Resources says the dredge will arrive around Monday, with work beginning the following day, Tuesday. They say dredging will take roughly 8 to 10 days, and 7,500 cubic yards of material will be removed. It comes as the White Marlin Open Fishing Tournament is set to begin in August.
Happening today, over 300 lifeguards will take to Rehoboth Beach for the 2025 United States Life-Saving Association's Mid-Atlantic Regional Championships. The competition begins in just a few hours at 8 o'clock on Baltimore Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. Athletes are competing to win a spot at the Life-Saving Association's national competition in California this August. And it is 6:56. We are going to take another look at your slightly more bearable forecast than yesterday.
Yeah, a good one for those the people competing in that life-saving competition. We're just about an hour away from it starting down Rehoboth Beach, Bob.
And I think they're in good shape weather-wise. The sand's not going to be too hot. I think we're looking at some cloud cover. No lightning for the competition. Maybe a few sprinkles. All in all, you know, have fun and hope you all win, if that's possible. But looking pretty good for that, all things considered, as it will be a little cooler today. We'll see the cloud cover, light winds, temperatures through the 70s and 80s, close to 90 inland areas. I think we're dry through about 4 or 5 p.m. Feels like temperatures well inland near 100, but with the clouds and maybe a few showers later today, that feels like temperature is lower. That's definitely a good thing. Then we're concerned about flash flooding as we go into this evening with slow-moving storms that could dump a lot of rain, so watch for that. We do have a flood watch. Paul Davis 10-day forecast, 84, more showers and storms as we head into later Thursday and Friday with mid to upper 80s. I think it dries out a little bit Saturday, still an isolated storm, 88. Sunday, still, well, maybe a little stormy, upper 80s, and then we continue that storm threat on and off into next week, and temperatures near normal in the mid to upper 80s.
All right, thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
Yeah, the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV Midday at 11.
And for more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Wednesday morning, everybody.